Hey everybody, this is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery, and today is July 22nd, 4 p.m. Eastern. This is Hump Day Hangouts, episode number 38. Adam is not here to announce the introductions today. He's got some other stuff he's working on, so he's unavailable. But I got the rest of the crew with me: Chris, Hernan, and Marco. What's up, guys?
Hey everyone.
Cool. So, because our official announcer isn't here, I don't know that we have any announcements to make because he usually handles all of that. So, yeah. I think we're just going to jump right into questions. Do you guys know of anything that I'm supposed to say?
No.
Not really.
No. I'm just
we rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just do the SEO stuff. Everyone else handles the other stuff. So.
Yeah. Other than that, then we're good to go.
Okay, cool. Well, then, we won't waste time. We got quite a few people registered, and it looks like in the last hour or so some questions have actually been posted, which is great because it was looking a little bit thin earlier when I was looking at it. So I'll go ahead and take the screen. We'll jump over onto the events page, and we'll just start rolling through these. And just to double check, make sure that the video is coming through all right. I'm going to hit play and then pause it. Okay, there we go. Looks like it's working. Yep. All right, you guys can see my screen okay?
Yep.
Very good. All right, so first question is from Jane Kaufman. Jane says, may I be so bold to ask a couple of questions? Sure, that's why you're here, I hope. Where do you guys get the persona pictures? This does not seem to have been mentioned anywhere. Okay, great question. I think it's mentioned in the training. I'm almost certain it is. Yeah, I'm positive it is. But and I'm not an attorney, so you consult with a local attorney if you're worried about anything that I have to say. But we usually will take images that we can scrape from online, from Google image search, or from various other sources, Flickr, things like that, and take an image and then skew it, or use like a morphing software, photo morph software or something to change the image to make it unique. And you still have to be careful with copyright issues, guys. Like I said, if you're concerned about that, then I would suggest that you, figure out your own solution. I'm just telling you what it is that my VAs do, and that's how we do it. Is there anything else that you guys can say? Do you want to add to that?
I know that Marco probably has something to say about it, but I have this little tool called, just a second, I think it's called Lightshot, that will allow you to take a screenshot of a particular area of the screen, So you're not actually downloading the picture, but actually, cropping it so that it will be saved with your own metadata and whatnot. Yeah. So that's usually what I do. But yeah, and then again, you need to be careful. I usually go for Creative Commons and pictures. If you're doing Google Images, you may want to go for pictures that are free of royalties, you can use, or those that are free to reuse in a commercial way, and you can use those. And even so, I still, take a screenshot of that portion of the screen and skew it a little bit so that the end product is slightly different pixel-wise.
Yeah, you don't want to download the image. You want to take a screenshot of it, because otherwise you're downloading all the metadata too. And so he's absolutely right. So you want to save it as a screenshot image, and then that way you have your own metadata attached, plus you can name the file whatever when you save it. And then, like he said, you can do like a horizontal flip on it, or you can skew it a bit, or you can use photo morphing software, which is actually the best way to do it. It requires an extra couple steps, but you can find free photo morphing software. There are some paid versions as well. But that makes them absolutely unique for sure, and different, so that you're not actually using somebody else's image. Something else that you can do is from videos on YouTube. You can pause a video on YouTube, set the resolution to the highest that it will allow, like 720p or whatever, and freeze frame it, pause it on an image of a face, and then you can screenshot that as well, and that'll be a unique image.
I know that there are some portals that will allow you to download or to get a screenshot of some profile pics. I'm trying to find it out. If I find it, I'll paste it on the URL on the events page.
But again, use at your own risk. Be careful. You want to make sure that you're not doing anything that can get you in trouble. Like, for example, I know for sure that Getty Images, if you download or use an image from Getty Images without having purchased a license, they can and will track you down and fine you for copyright infringement. I actually have a client of mine, he's a roofing client, who just contacted me last week and said that he had been contacted by, and it wasn't because of something I did, it was because he had his own in-house blogger blogging on his site, and they had, she had downloaded an image from Getty Images, whether it was from Google's image search or direct from Getty Images, I don't know, but she used it on the site, and he didn't have a license, and he was being, basically got a notification that he was being sued for $600 for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
So, Getty Images is notorious for that. So be careful with what you're doing.
And I found that it's uifaces.com, uifaces.com. I'm going to paste it on the events page real quick. And it's pretty cool because it's all about avatars and whatnot. But yeah, then again, you need to make sure that you're not breaking any copyright laws, but it's good to find some quick pictures.
Okay. All right. So number 2 is, can I still have my VA trained by you guys to build a network? No. Well, what we have is we have an outsourcer training portal system, which we were for a while offering Trello boards, and we still can offer a template, but it needs to be updated for your own VAs by yourselves. So in other words, if you purchase our training, we will give your VAs access to their own training area where the videos will be posted, and then we can give you a template in Trello that you can use so that you can learn how to set up Trello boards properly and everything else, but then you're going to need to make the edits to the Trello boards for yourself and specific to your needs anyways. It was just too much for us to keep up with for all of the needs of all of our different students and members, and it was actually taking way too much time for us to do it. So instead, and I actually have to update, which I won't get to until about another week from now, but I'm going to be updating some of the Trello boards that we had just to make them generic enough to where they can be modified easily by you guys to see your needs. But we do not personally train your VAs. We just give a training portal access, which is essentially an area where all the training videos are hosted that you can have basically an unlimited amount of VAs log into. So instead of you giving out your login details for your accounts, we give a separate login, a separate portal, a whole other membership area that's specific to just the VAs where they can get the training that they need. So it's up to you to train your own VAs, though. We just provide you with the resources to do so. Okay, if you don't have a network, isn't the strategy only effective after your network is built? I'm assuming you mean blogging and syndicating content. Yeah, if you don't have a network, you're not syndicating content. So You're right, it wouldn't be effective. That's like having if you have just a website and you just start blogging and you're not doing anything about getting that blog post seen by others and shared and links, building backlinks, then you're never going to get found unless you're targeting like the most obscure keywords that nobody else is targeting. So you have to do something to help get that content seen, shared, clicked on, liked, linked to, that sort of thing. And that's what our networks do. It automates a lot of that. Okay. Let's see. I'm not going to walk through each one of these. I'm assuming you're talking about the 5 Days of Profitability email series. That's when you download the PDF, you get that. Let's see. It says Day 4, I upload a video to YouTube channel. I should then see results for the new video due to an existing network through which embeds creates the link backs is necessary to produce results. My point is, maybe I need to understand this more, the fruitful results of the exercise is only positive. The bigger the network is, at that exact time that you upload a vid with its fractaling out to all the tentacles of the network. Wow. Hope I'm making sense. All right. Yeah, the bigger your network, the better results you're going to have. Yeah. And keep in mind, when you first build a network, your network is going to be brand new. Everything is going to be brand new. So it's not going to produce amazing results with the first upload. Okay? I mean, it can if you're targeting the right kind of keywords, it can. But for the most part, it's going to take what I call priming. Your network is going to need to be primed, which means you're going to have to upload several videos to it to kind of get the network active, make sure all the recipes are working properly. Most of the time when you first set up recipes, they don't work right out of the gate. They need a couple times of, they need to be triggered a couple times before they will actually fire properly. Okay, and then part of the reason why you want to do that is if you follow the training and you build your networks with themes, where they're themed around specific niches or industries, then by uploading or syndicating content to those networks that is like content, similar content that falls within that industry, that's going to start creating that whole theme and reinforcing the theme of those networks, which is going to increase the trust signals, it's going to increase the page authority and everything else. So keep that in mind. It does take some work. It's not a magic bullet. What we provide is not a magic bullet. Look, there is no magic bullet. That's the secret. There is no magic bullet. So you set up these networks, and then you produce content or publish content to the networks, whether it's through a YouTube channel or from a blog, either way. And then consistency is key. Okay, frequency and consistency is what's going to get you the best results. But yes, for YouTube channels especially, you can continue to stack networks on top of that channel and just stack as far as, you know, as many as you want. And the bigger your networks, the better results you're going to get. Okay.
Yeah, I like the fractal theory that Jane is bringing, because that's pretty much what we're doing. We're doing fractals. You know, you have your channel, and then you have all of those properties that will resemble your channel by posting pretty much the same videos. So yeah, it works for YouTube channels because of the embeds, and it also works for backlinks and traffic. So that's
it works for blogs too, but you got to be more careful with footprint issues.
Yep.
So, and that's all covered in the training, Jane. All right, Emmanuel, great questions, by the way. Emmanuel C says, thanks for the links to the awesome SERP Shaker webinar. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, this is kind of proprietary, but that's all right. I'll answer these. In this webinar, you recommend Liquid Web as a host for SERP Shaker sites. I assume I can actually do the build on the hosting on Liquid Web, although this is shared hosting, right? Number one, not necessarily. Depends on how big your builds are going to be, Emmanuel. If you're going to be building, you know, tens of thousands of pages, then I do not recommend doing it on the host. I recommend, just as it says, as the SERP Shaker training shows, is to build it on a local host and then just migrate the site to shared hosting. Because otherwise, Liquid Web is a hell of a lot more of a robust hosting company than most hosting companies, most shared hosting companies. I'll tell you that. Like, I highly recommend Liquid Web. Most of all my money sites are hosted on Liquid Web. Okay, but I do not recommend, you know, if you're doing just a couple hundred pages, or maybe even in the low thousands of pages, you could probably get away with building directly on their server, on the shared hosting account. But I still would recommend getting used to building on a local host that you can install on your desktop or laptop, whichever, and then just doing a migration to the actual host once the site is built. Okay. Let's see. You said not to spend a lot of money on tracking. Do it by counties instead. How would you do that? Oh no. What I'm saying for rank tracking, whenever you're doing something like SERP Shaker sites, Lead Gadget sites, or even like Hangout Millionaire, we did a webinar for Hangout Millionaire a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now. And when you're producing tons of posts or pages and you're trying to track all of those different keywords, unless you have a really high-powered rank tracking service or system, which can get very expensive very quickly, then what I do with these, specifically these types of sites, is I use Webmaster Tools, which is now called Google Search Console, and I use that to show me which keyword phrases people use to find and then click through on my website. And that's how I use Google, because it's free. It doesn't cost a dime. And instead of trying to, you know, track 1,500 or thousands of keywords, which can cost hundreds of dollars per month in rank tracking fees, I just do it with Google Search Console, and it will identify and show me what the search queries were, which ones brought the clicks in, the top pages on the site, and then I can go and reinforce those keywords more. And in fact, it will identify keywords that you didn't even know you were ranking for, or that you should be ranking for, because it will show you search queries that your site was given impressions for. Again, that's Google Search Console now. It used to be Google Webmaster Tools. All right, in one of your videos, can't remember which, you talk about using reusable video templates that you can customize for each client or city. Can you direct me to some of these video template resources? Yeah, just go to Fiverr, or go to I prefer going to Upwork, used to be Odesk. Hire a video production specialist, which you can find people in India or from the Philippines, and you can get them for very good prices. Most of the time, they're going to list on their profiles that they charge per hour, but when you get to negotiating with them about a specific project, it'll be on a per project basis, which I recommend anyways, because then you know what it's going to be. And then what you do is you ask them to create a video for you for a local business, right? You could give them a fake, local business name for that matter, but have them create a template out of it and tell them that within specific places of the video where like the call to action would be and a logo, So the call to action could be call now to schedule a free estimate. I'm just using contractors once again as my example here, but let's just say it was for a plumber, and it could be like, you know, Joe's Plumbing, call now for a free estimate, and there's the logo and the phone number, maybe the web address URL right within the video. Those are areas that can be edited very easily. So you create 2 or 3. You can start off with just one, but create a template. Have a video guy do this. I mean, if you're good with like Explain.io or what is it, Video Sketch Pro, or any one of those kind of things, you can do this yourself. You just create a template, but there will be specific sections of the video that will be edited. Once the template is created, you can have those sections edited out to replace the logo and the phone number and the website URL very, very easily. So you might spend $150 getting that first video set up, but then every time you use that same video over and over again for different contractors or for different businesses, then all you're paying for is to edit those small sections out and maybe change the background music so that it makes it more of a unique file. Does that make sense? And you can do that. You can do that even with a voiceover. So you could have just one voiceover track, but where it says the call to action, it doesn't actually say it. It just shows it as text on the screen, right? And then that gets edited out or changed whenever you change businesses, or you know, using the video for another business. So again, what I do is I have a video guy on Upwork that I've been using for quite some time now, and he'll create a video for me. Cost me roughly $150 as a template, and then for each new template. And then after that, it costs me roughly $15 or $20, depending on how many edits there are, to edit that out. That's dirt cheap to have a decent animated quality video. Okay. So again, go to Upwork. I mean, you can find people on Fiverr to do that for you too, by the way. It's not a $5 gig. They're going to charge you $150 roughly, maybe, you know, $150 to $200 to create a template specific to you, a unique template. And then again, the editing portion of it can run anywhere between $10 to $30, depending on how much editing needs to be done per template. But that's why I recommend just doing maybe 2 spots within the video that have the logo and the call to action text that you could swap out. Makes it easy to move, you know, to edit going forward. All right, so question 3B, besides, let us say that you were repurposing these videos for 100 cities, I imagine it would be quite a daunting task to produce a unique description for 100 videos. Is it okay to reuse the same description and adapt it to that particular city or spin it somehow? I always recommend this. This is the best service I've ever found for this sort of thing, so give me 1 second. And I will show you. This is Super Spun Article by Keith Goodwin. He is one of our members, our masterclass members. He does an outstanding service here. Hernan, I'm going to put this in chat. If you can drop this on the top of the page.
Sure.
Keith Goodwin, you can buy a Super Spun Article here for $69 that you can get. I've gotten thousands. Well, I've got one specific YouTube channel where I've got almost 1,000 videos. It's over 900 videos that I used. It's all in the same niche, and I used one of his Super Spun Articles for that. And so each time you go to do another video, you just output a new version of the spun article. Okay, what I do when I purchase these from Keith is I'll open up a notepad and I'll show you. Let's go to font, make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see this. Hopefully you guys can see this. Are you guys seeing my whole screen, Hernan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'll say is like plumber in, and then I do what I call a tag, and it will say like this, location, and I'll use these little tildes, or you could do, that's just a version of a tag. And so the only reason why I do that is like I'll say, like, let's say I'm looking for a plumbing article that I'm going to use for 100 different plumbing videos, right? That are just a template that I'm going to use, like you said, in 100 different cities. I'm going to say plumber in, maybe emergency plumber in, and I'll do the same thing with the location tag. And so the point is that this gives a nice area within the super, and I just tell Keith that when you submit your order details, and then that way he'll write the article and use these tags instead of a specific city. And then all you do is when you get the article back, let's say you're going to start with Dallas, you just copy that location tag and go to find and replace. So go to replace, put in the location tag, and then you would just type in Dallas or Dallas TX or whatever you want to do. In fact, what I would do is something like this. I would do Dallas, Texas. I'll show you. It'll get big here in just a second, guys. Texas. And lastly, I would do here. This is what I'll do. right, so if I replace this, you'll see that now I've got SpinTac set up here, and I need a space there, excuse me, so that it'll spin out each time it spins out. It would be like Dallas TX or Dallas, Texas, or just flat out Dallas, right? And all I did was did a find and replace on the location terms. And so you keep one as just your raw order, right, or your template order, your template text file, and then you make the changes in them, and you can always save it if you want as you know, like the Dallas video description or whatever. Then the next time you do it, you just open up your template again and you do the same thing, find and replace on your location tag, and set and put in the city in there, and it just gives a unique version each time that you output. Does that make sense? Hopefully that was clear. It's the best way to do it, in my opinion, if you're going to be doing templates like that, because that way you get all of your descriptions are unique. It works really well. I've gotten, like I said, almost 1,000 out of it before, and those videos are ranking really, really well for probably 60% of them. Okay. All right, Bob says, I opted in for the pre-launch announcement for the video embed service but never got a confirmation. Should I have received one? Bob, we're just checking the pulse of our community, and we've got a really, really good response from you guys about that. There's really nothing to you might have. Adam's not here. He was handling the mailing list, so you probably should have gotten a confirmation email.
Yeah, probably a confirmation email or a
spam.
How do you say it? No, yeah. Well, probably you should be checking spam or whatnot, but how do you say it? Yeah, a confirmation email. You know, confirm your email, and once you're done, you should be getting an email saying, well, you've been confirmed, thanks, we'll keep in touch, something like that. But yeah, as Bradley says, we were measuring the interest.
Yeah, I mean, you should have probably gotten one, but if you didn't, don't worry about it, because it's really not that big of a deal, other than when we go to launch, we're going to be mailing back out to the list again. Bob, if you have an issue specifically, just submit a support ticket, and we'll see if we'll log in. Now, I don't remember if that was Aweber or GetResponse, probably Aweber, and we'll double check to see what happened to your account. We might have to delete you and have you opt in again if you didn't receive the confirmation email, if that's all. But you'll be notified, Bob. You're in some of our memberships, some of our so you'll definitely be notified when we actually launch the service. But just so you guys know, we are going to proceed with that for sure, because we had enough interest from just our subscribers that there's no doubt we're moving forward with that. So
it's good to say that it's going to be like really limited at the beginning, and we will try to keep it like that. So if you haven't gone to the, I'll put the link in chat. If you haven't got into the notification email list, do so now, because we're gonna keep it like really, really tight, because we want to deliver a hell of a quality product. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to be building that network. It's going to be an ongoing thing, so that it's continually growing. Right. And so when we first open the doors, it's going to be limited opening. We're only going to be able to accept, so many people when we first open the doors, and then we have to shut it down until we can get, reach a point where we can open the doors again. And it's going to be like that for the first several months that we have that service launched, so that we can deliver outstanding results to those that get in. So it's going to be, you definitely want to be on the list if you're interested, and then we will be notifying or mailing out when we're about to open the doors, give you guys a chance to get ready to jump in if you want to, and then we'll have to close it down once we hit our numbers, and then we'll reopen again as soon as we're at another point. We're going to try to keep it on a fairly regular schedule as to when we reopen the doors, but more details will come as we get closer to that time, I promise. Okay. Florian says, do you guys already tried Social Explosion, which is a Network Empire product which generates social backlinks and also allows to auto-publish on Pinterest from a WordPress blog? Yeah, I had been using it for quite some time. Let's see. In conjunction with Page Column RSS Generator, it allows to send social backlinks to any page on the web. Thought RSS, and by using one feed supercharger, or it must be through. Anyways, I'm actually using this technique with really nice results, but I would like to know what you guys think about all this. Yeah, Florian, I had used it for quite some time. It is a good service, there's no doubt. It's rather pricey. And so I stopped using it because we have developed some of our own methods that we teach inside our courses that do similar things. So that's why I stopped using it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a bit pricey. Social Explosion plugin. It's certainly valid and it works well. Those guys know what they're doing. Network Empires, no doubt, they know what they're doing. But again, it was just a bit pricier than for what I do. For most of the stuff that I do, when I manage so many sites, it was almost prohibitive for the cost involved. And so I'm able to reproduce similar results with some of the methods that we've generated that cost just a fraction of that. So Florian says, another question. I'm looking to actually power up my Ring 1 IFTTT style with FCS and GSA, but I don't have time or the patience to learn how to use those tools. I remember that Bradley shared one of his VAs that does this stuff. Can you share it again, please? Well, we have a service for that, but we got it closed down right now, Florian. Sorry. But we have a link building service for that, and right now it's actually shut down because we're preparing for our video network embed launch. And so we've redirected those resources into that. So unfortunately, we can't help you with that. However, you can go on to Upwork once again, and you can find people that are good with FCS Networker and GSA, other link building tools like Magic Submitter, stuff like that, and hire somebody to do it for you. And that's what I recommend doing for anybody listening to this call, unless you're already skilled with the tool. I personally don't have the patience to learn how to use link building tools, so I just pay somebody to do it for me. Okay? Also, about how many FCS links per social account do you use, excuse me, and how many GSA links per FCS link? That depends. Usually I use the top. We build like 14,400 FCS networker links to our IFTTT network, but that it could be just a tier 1 network, or it could be to all, like if we're doing a full 2-tier network, that's 4 rings. So it varies anywhere between 20 profiles getting 14,400 FCS networker links to roughly 88. It varies anywhere between 20 to 88 links is my target URLs for the FCS campaign. And then on top of that, we put, sometimes 150,000 GSA links that power up those 14,400 FCS links.
Yeah. What I would suggest.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Bradley, but what I would suggest that you do, Florian, is to test the waters, because it will depend on your niche and on your competition. Sometimes you don't need that many backlinks.
That's right.
So if you could get somewhere between 200, 300 backlinks, FCS backlinks, that is per profile, and back those with 2,000 to 3,000 backlinks from GSA per profile as well, okay? That will usually yield good results for you, depending on the market, of course. If you're going for the UI attorney, you may need a lot of juice, and not only GSA and FCS, but probably SAPE and whatnot. So, but, take it slowly. You don't want to burn your IFTTT accounts, first of all. So just take it slowly and see where you get.
Yeah, I mean, the service that we provide, or when it's open, again, right now it's closed, is that, we allow you guys to choose one of 3 levels on your first tier out, which is essentially really tier 2, because you're building links to your IFTTT properties. But we had it set up in such a way that it drips out the links over the course of 30 days, which caused a bunch of problems with people that purchased them, because they were going, it's, I want to know, is my link package done, 10 days into it? And no, it's not done. And the reason why is because we drip them out so that it's the most effective, it's the safest, and the links stick the longest. Because when you blast out a whole bunch of links on new properties, your accounts get terminated, and then they're useless. They don't help you. So we had it set up and fine-tuned in such a way that they give us the highest stick rate, and they don't burn the properties like what Hernan just said. If you blast an IFTTT property, like a network property, too quickly, it's going to be basically sandboxed, and you don't want to do that. So you want to drip them out. But again, like Hernan said, you really need to figure out what niche, specifically what you need in that niche, and it takes some testing to do so. I don't always recommend going full guns blazing. You don't have to all the time. You can go a little bit more conservative and find a really good balance of what you need for your specific competition levels. Okay, something like the campaign, he says, on average, how much does a campaign cost to run like this? The one that I was talking about, we bill about $240 for that, and again, it's about a 5-week process to completion. But it's very, very powerful. But again, sometimes you don't need that much.
Yeah, it also depends what properties you're doing, and a lot of other stuff. We just say mostly, but if you're doing, for example, any kind of captcha breaker versus another, I don't want to get too technical on this, but it will depend on so many factors, like your VPS, your captchas, your proxies, etc., etc. So. Yeah, you may want to take that into consideration when calculating the cost. It's usually when you're having somebody run them for you, it's usually all about the early cost of that outsourcer, because he will probably take over the entire thing, plus some subscription that you may want to get, like FCS, for example. So that will tell you the cost.
Yeah. Yep, and those tools can be time-consuming to use. So again, I highly recommend you outsource it. But if you've got the wherewithal to do it, then you can certainly do it on your own, and that will reduce your costs. But there are certainly costs in just running any of those programs. So monthly costs included. Steve Mark says, I have a client who we have done several videos of the last few years, and we currently dominate on all keywords, but I have recently noticed somebody is scraping my titles and placing them on a spam-type video, and they are starting to creep up on my current video rankings. What are they doing? They're being spammers. That's what they're doing. They've seen that your video titles and probably some of your tags that they've scraped from your videos are working for you, and so they've started duplicating your results with, even if they are spamming. So what is the purpose of them scraping my titles? Well, the purpose is you just said you currently dominated for all your keywords, right? So they're trying to basically duplicate what you're doing, and I can see why they would do it, right? We buy tools, guys, that will scrape people's titles and their tags from their videos, right? What is it? TubeRank Jeep? That was just a big one that was launched again. They come out about every other week now. One of those tools that does something similar. So and they teach us in all those tools to scrape those tags and those titles. So again, there's nothing you can do about it except make sure that your videos stay on top. Right? You can't stop other people from scraping your titles, and welcome to the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
So only thing you can do is just make sure that your videos stay on top, and that includes additional backlinking, additional social signals, and engagement. Right?
By the way, we have Mike Pierce in the house. Thank you, Mike, for being here. He commented that guy that created Social Explosion plugin is a douche. I wonder who that is. Thank you, Mike, for the comment. We're happy that you're here.
That's funny. What's up, Mike? Glad to have you here, man.
Yeah.
Will Pauly says, I have a potential client who wants a new website on a new domain. So in one of your Hangouts, you mentioned build a duplicate site on your own domain, then 301 redirected to client. How do you redirect a whole website with, say, 5 or 6 pages? Thanks for your time. Well, that's something that's reserved. I'm not going to get into specifics because that's reserved for our private groups, but you can redirect on a page-by-page basis. You can do that in either htaccess, if you know how to set up redirects in htaccess file, or you can do it with a plugin, a simple 301 redirects plugin. In fact, that's the title. Simple 301 redirects, and you can redirect on a page-by-page basis there as well. So again, Will, that's something that we typically talk about in our private groups, but you can certainly, that's what I do. Whenever I build a site for a client, I build it on my own domain first to where it's about 90% complete, and then I clone it and install it on their domain, and then redirect my domain page by page to theirs, and then build links to my domain. That way I'm retaining all of the link juice that gets built to their site, and in the event that they decide that they want to stop paying me for some reason or another, then I just remove those redirects, and voila, my site appears where theirs used to, and now I can rent it out again, or I can monetize it however I choose, or redirect it to a new client site, or whatever. That makes sense. Okay, it's about keeping control. That's how you should run your SEO business. When you do SEO for clients direct to their sites, you're building their assets, not your own. That is no way to run a business, because they can pull the rug out from underneath of you at any moment, and they get to keep all of the benefit of all of your hard work, and you lose your income, right? And that's not fair. Why should we put ourselves in that position? As SEOs, we should keep control of all the links and all the juice that we build. We should be like plumbers, you know what I'm saying? We should always keep control of where we direct that juice, so that we can always maintain our income. Okay? And again, we talk about that kind of stuff inside the mastermind. Yes, sir.
Bradley, just to jump in real quick, we try also to be ethical, and
That's
so
correct.
a client always gets branded. That's his. His domain stays. All of his branded tier 1 properties stay. What we're talking about is what's ranking. You rank your stuff. I don't want to go that.
Don't go too deep.
Right. You rank your stuff, and then if they go, your stuff is still ranking. You get rid of them. They can have everything that you built for them, because now it's worthless.
That's right. Well, it's not worthless. It just means that they got to hire somebody else to come in and redo all the stuff that you did, because you're keeping all the work that you did. You know, and why shouldn't you? You did all the damn work, and you should benefit from it. You build your own assets, not others. You know what I mean? If I'm going to be building someone else's asset, I want a stake in that asset. I want a piece of it. You know what I'm saying? I want equity in that business if I'm building their asset. Does that make sense? And that's a good way to do it, by the way, is to do equity share too, because now you have a stake in their success, and they have a reason to keep you, right? Daryl says, new Hump Day Hangout slogan. Come for the SEO, stay for Adam's beard. That's awesome. I +1'd it. Too bad Adam's not here.
Yeah. We gotta leave a message, Daryl.
Yeah. Carlos says, currently connecting curator.com. I have 2 variations for the RSS feed for YouTube, but it is not working. What is the correct format to head to Curator? It should be working for Curator, Carlos. If it's not, it's probably a bug with Curator. Curator is one of those sites, of just like several sites within the live stream training, that are very, very buggy. And I mentioned that, I think, at least a dozen times in the training, because we cannot be responsible for like the sites not accepting feeds or just flat out not working sometimes. For example, in the IFTTT SEO training, blog.com is a site that we had added as kind of like a a secondary site that you can add into your network. Well, blog.com had been down for about 2 weeks. It was getting a 500 internal server error. I think it's back up within the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah, it's been up for the past a day or two.
Day or two, yeah, it's been up, but it had been down for like 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. And that's just one of those, and we got a lot of people saying, is blog.com down to, blog.com's not working. Well, I know. There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, we try to tell you guys that we're dealing with a lot of different sites, so sometimes there's bugs in the site, sometimes there's bugs with IFTTT. Most of the time, they'll work themselves out if you just leave them alone and move on to something else. Most of the time they'll work themselves out, but occasionally then it requires some additional input, like recipes need to be changed, and when they do, we try to update you guys with the training. As far as the curator feed format, that should be correct, but Hernan, can you dig up in the mastermind the proper, actually, you know what, I think I've got it actually in a text file right here.
Yeah, the feeds, you mean?
I think I've got it right here.
Oh, there you go.
I do. I have it in a text file on my desktop because people ask about this all the time, so... Yep. Carlos, I'm going to stick this up top. I don't know if this is any different than what you had, but you can check them out and try any one of those. And if it's not working, it's probably Curator. And Jason Johnson saying blog.com is down right now.
Yeah, it's one of those properties that come and goes. I really like it because I think it's a WordPress spin-off or something like that.
Yeah, it is.
WordPress, but it's buggy.
It's buggy as hell. There's no question. So it's one, again, and a lot of the live stream, Curator is another one that's buggy. A lot of those live stream sites are buggy. So when they work, great. Add your content to them when you're building out the networks, or if you hire us to do it, we build them out if they're working at that moment. If they're not, then they get skipped because it's not worth wasting your time, guys. Move on, move on. Okay, so never mind my slogan then, Daryl says. I have no activity recently in crowd search. Is it working for you guys? As far as I know, yeah, I'm burning through about 2,000 credits a day.
Yeah.
So,
Scott,
reach out to support their support, crowd search support, not ours. So reach out to them, okay? Virginia Home says Getty are real dicks. +1 that. Yeah. Let's see. Mike Pierce says, I've been through 3 lawsuits due to images. If you were going to do any modification of any images, it opens you up a little bit more. Keep it in mind. It opens you up more. Mike, I'd love to hear your reply. It opens you up for even more litigation. Is that what you mean? Or it opens you up to be a little, you have a little bit more leeway. I'm curious as to what your response is. And again, guys, I recommend that you tread very lightly when you're using other images. That's why I said I'm not an attorney. I can't recommend you do any one thing or another. We use like photomorph software and stuff to try to make them as unique as possible. So, thanks, Clint. By the way, if Wayne or Clint, I haven't seen the funny meme yet. Oh, there's one. There it is.
Magic bullet.
There's one. I'm gonna say there's always a funny meme. Getty will sue you for the fun of it. Yeah, I'm sure they do. Is it adequate to use a short spun description without having all the suggested accounts set up for Hangout Millionaire, I guess, in order to determine good keywords to capitalize on? Or do I need to build IFTTT, Dlvr.it, and Onlywire for Hangout Millionaire to give me an indication of what keywords to go after? No, Dan, I mean, I don't use Dlvr.it or Onlywire at all. All I use is my IFTTT networks, period. And I've mentioned this several times that, guys, you don't have to have, you know, multiple networks to test with. Just set up a test YouTube channel with like one IFTTT network, and if you want. I mean, I always do my testing with one full 2-tier network, period. That's just what I test with. But you don't have to do that. If you don't have those resources, or you don't have the time to build them, or you don't want to spend the money on purchasing them, then just set up one test channel with an attached network, tier 1 network, and do your testing with that. You should still be able to get good enough results from that to be able to determine which keywords are the best to go after. And then you have your real money site, or your real money channel set up with your real money networks, which would be the full, at least a full 2-tier network. If that makes sense, right?
And sometimes I get the comment that IFTTT networks are, you know, difficult and time-consuming, and they are. They really are. That's why they are offering that we are offering a done-for-you service. But you could also get away with the highest DA properties. In case you're in a rush or you want to test some of the things, you don't need to flesh out entirely the 22 properties that we use. You know, you can just pick, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 of the highest DA trust flow, or the highest authority of all of the properties that we use. We use those because we know that they get good results. But if you're in a hurry, or if you're doing everything on your own, that's also my intake.
Yeah, but my suggestion to anybody on this webinar right now watching this is participating. If you can't spend $62 to buy a done-for-you tier 1 network from us, then you probably should get out of the business. Period. And I'm not saying that to be an asshole. I'm saying it because the amount of time that it takes to build a tier 1 network your time is worth so much more than that $62.
Yeah.
Trust me, I don't care if you're brand new in this business, your time is worth more than that $62 that you'd spend to have us build it for you. You know what I mean? So if you want to set up a test channel, please do so, and then buy a tier 1 network. And I'm not saying that just so we'll sell the networks. I'm saying that because you guys should be focused on doing more keyword research, figuring out ways to monetize the videos, that sort of thing. You shouldn't be spending your time building. If you want to build a couple networks on your own to begin with to understand how they work, which I do recommend that, then by all means do so. But when it gets to the point where you're just testing, when you're at the level like what Dan is talking about, where now he has Hangout Millionaire and he's spending $100 a month minimum on a service that he's using, then I recommend that you invest $62 on somebody else to build a network for you, so that you can work on just creating more videos, publishing more content, tracking results, and then scaling on those successful results.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
In fact, it's funny that you mentioned that, Bradley, because we had one of our mastermind students flip the networks, sell the networks to some of their own clients.
Realtors.
For realtors for 4 figures. So just if you're trying to do it on your own, you're actually losing money. You're not saving those $62. Because you could be earning a lot more per hour, and you're actually losing money, when doing it on your own. So find somebody or get a done-for-you network.
That's right.
But the main point here is that you should be out there seeking for the big numbers.
And guys,
our students are doing.
We have the done-for-you service, and we charge $62. Of course, we make a small profit on that. So if you want to train your own VAs, if you're going to be serious about your business, then I recommend that you do train your own team. Because then you can build them for a cheaper than what you'd be paying us to do it, right? And you have somebody else doing it for you at will. And like Hernan said, I was very impressed. One of our students in the mastermind, I'm not going to rat you out unless I got permission to do so, but he sold a full 2-tier network with a couple of other small add-ons of some sort, videos or something, for $1,995. He took a screenshot of the check and shared it in the mastermind. And that's fantastic, because you guys can buy a 2-tier network from us for $200.
Yeah.
And he sold it for $1,995 with some additional add-on services. Typically, and I'll be 100% honest, I charge for a branded tier 1 network for a local business client $797. And you guys can buy that from us for $62.50. And I'll sell, and I don't even take on new clients unless it's by referral only. That's the only way I'll take on new clients now is through referrals. And I charge $797. My team my team builds them for me, and it's under $62.50 because that's what we charge you guys. That's a huge markup. So I mean, typically a 2-tier network, I'd probably charge about $1,200 for that. But one of our members got away with doing $19.95 with a couple other additional services. That's fantastic. That's a huge return on investment. So you guys, it's certainly possible, and that's a great way to get money coming in right away. Is just go sell some networks to local business clients. You know, let us build them for you. You mark them up, and then take those profits and reinvest them back into your business to buy some of the tools that you need, or to buy your own networks so that you're building up your own assets, like I just talked about. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. David says, I purchased images with 10 people or more in them from Dreams Time. Well, that's probably cool. And then cut out the actual faces separately. This might not be a bad idea. I don't know how legal that is, but thanks, David. Appreciate that. Carlos says, another question. What is the best way to integrate Syndwire to my IFTTT networks? Well, I use Syndwire, guys, as a second tier network, just like I would FCS. For videos, it's fine to use as like additional embeds, you know, to publish videos for embedding. But I don't use Syndwire to link directly to a money site. For YouTube videos, it's fine. But to a website, I do not recommend it, only because you're using spun content and that sort of thing, and I don't recommend doing that. Plus, if you're using Syndwire, the way that I use it is I have them, all my networks are themed within Syndwire. So like the same way that we talk with IFTTT, we build, like I have, you know, my VAs do it, but they'll create a profile persona, and then all of the accounts that we use in Syndwire, which is only about a third of them, because a lot of them are in there really don't have any SEO benefit in any ways. The ones that we do use, they all are attached to that one profile, and everything's interlinked. And we also add a couple of additional profiles that we don't syndicate content to, but it reinforces that persona, that profile, which would be like about.me and Gravatar, things like those. Google Plus profile and plus page, right? And so we do all of that to reinforce that theme, and then that profile has a specific interest. They have likes and interests that are congruent with the content that we're going to be posting to their properties, their network properties. So we do the same sort of strategy with Syndwire that we do with IFTTT, but I use it as a tier 2 link building system, unless it's for YouTube videos, in which case it's just another embed point, if that makes sense. All right, so again, it's not a bad tool, but you know, it's like FCS Networker. That's how I look at Syndwire. It's like FCS Networker, and I don't build FCS Networker links direct to my money site either. I use it as a tier 2 tool, or for video stuff. Okay. On my tier 2 networks, what is the best way to maintain those healthy as far as the posting schedule? Do you have one? No, it depends. Once again, if it's a video network, you can just keep posting videos. That's it. And then you can build additional links to those as well. If it's a blog network for blog syndication, then I recommend that you follow the training, and that for the tier 2 networks, you work in some additional content sources as triggers, so that you're constantly updating your tier 2 networks, especially with other people's content, not just your own. Okay? And again, that's all covered in the advanced strategy webinars inside the training. Ken's one of our mastermind students. He's been having a lot of success recently. He's taking massive action, and I'm very proud of him. So thanks, Ken, for being so active in the community. He says, what has worked for me is going to properties, details, remove properties and personal information. At the bottom, he's talking about in Windows, I'm assuming, for images. If you right-click on the images, you go to properties, then details, remove properties and personal information. Then select create a property with all possible properties removed. Click OK. This will remove all metadata associated with the image after downloading. I like to flip the images and resize them in Pixlr before using them, but this is a quick way to download an image and remove all the metadata. Thanks, Ken. That's a good idea.
Pretty cool.
Guys, still be careful.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff says, I make animated videos for blank niche. The video is essentially the same, but I change the voiceover and call to action phone number every time I make it. In the past, I sell the video to a client in the niche and then upload to their channel. Yeah, not in the past. That's keyword here is in the past, Jeff, because now you know better. But with the IFTTT, I am thinking about creating niche channels. Can I upload 200 different versions of the same video to one niche channel? Each video will have a unique description, unique call to action, etc. Yes, Jeff, you can, and that's what I'm saying, and that's what you should be doing. You should be selling video services to clients, but you should make it a prerequisite of the video service that you're selling that you're going to be uploading it to your channel, and you're going to be ranking it across your networks, because once again, it's your asset that you're building. they're just going to benefit from the traffic you can produce, right? Like I don't build out client WordPress channels and stuff unless they pay me a really high premium on it, because I just tell them, hey, I've got channels and networks that are in place that I can rank your videos from. It'll be your video. I'll sell you a video. You have full rights and use to the video. But for the video SEO services, that's the add-on service, you're basically going to be paying me to rent space on my network. Okay? That way they can still upload it to their channel and use it however the hell they want. But for the video ranking service, the SEO service, it's on your network that you control, that you're continually building up the power of your asset, okay, so that you build the authority on your channel. You keep control that way. All right, and by the way, I've used Hangout Millionaire, and like I said earlier with Super Spun Article, Keith Goodwin's service, I have a channel with close to 1,000 videos. It's over 900 videos on the same channel that are basically the same freaking video with just a different video description, different titles, different call to action, and that channel is still alive and well, and it's been that way for, I'd say, 9 or 10 months now. That channel is still alive and active. Okay, with close to 1,000 of the exact same video basically on it. All right, I'm surprised to be honest with you, I'm really surprised it's still up. So I imagine there's times where sometimes they'll get taken down for whatever reason, but you know, if you're doing quality videos and you're not spamming your channel to death, you should be okay. Okay, Clint says, who says there's no magic bullet? That's a good one, Clint. They've been a lot funnier inside the mastermind recently. Now Scott's jumping in on it. Let's see. Why would you use him? Okay, this is a good question from Roger Maves. Why would you use him rather than a tool like SpinRewriter? Okay, great question, Roger, because number one, my time is more valuable to me than for me to spin articles manually myself. Because if you take an article and submit it to SpinRewriter, SpinRewriter is a great tool. I use it. I use it because it has an API that connects to a lot of other tools. Occasionally, when I have to spin something quickly and I don't want to wait 3 or 4 days or 5 days to get something back from an outsourcer, I will spin something and I will use SpinRewriter as a starting point. But if you take an article and spin it in SpinRewriter, it will need to be manually edited or it will spit out garbage. Period. There is no spinning tool on the market that does a outstanding job. Some of them do good jobs, but they still need to be manually edited in order to take out phrases and things that work themselves in there that aren't necessarily proper,
Yeah.
grammatical errors and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I've used Word AI with Turing Spin also. That's supposedly the best spin, and it's really good, but the uniqueness of each article is less and less as you move forward on more readable. You have like a line where you have readable and unique, and the more you move to readable, the further away you go from unique, and that's happened to all of the spin
That's right.
tools out there. So
not only that, but remember, as we move further into the semantic web, Google knows if you're using spun content or not because of its algorithm is such that now that it can determine like whether it's spun for the likelihood of phrases being used in proximity to other phrases, and if it's unlikely, then it's going to demote that content anyways. So my point is that to me, I would rather, if I was going to spin an article manually, a 500-word article, to make it unique enough to use across hundreds or even 1,000 videos, it would take me 5-6 hours to do so of steady work. Or I could pay Keith Goodwin $69, and he's got a team of people that do it, that those articles come out that are readable articles. Occasionally there's some small errors in there, but the fact that they come out and they get them sent back to me for $69 is, to me, it's totally worth it. Like I use his service all the time. I haven't used it in a while because I haven't done any new campaigns in quite a while. But whenever I do, I buy them from him, and it's a great service. My time, to me, is more valuable than that. So
yeah, I just started one from him a couple of days ago and just got it back. So
yeah,
he's good.
And it works really well because it comes out like 90% unique on every version that you unspin. So okay, apparently they're not getting confirmation emails from the sign up on the network ordering stuff. Guys, we're going to run through about 5 more.
Okay.
And,
I'm going to double check that confirmation issue just in case.
Yeah, we're going to run through just a couple more questions, and we got to wrap it up because masterclass starts in 5 minutes. Neil says, in setting up a new persona profile, I've had Google serve up a CAPTCHA when looking for seed articles using a Boolean search. Have I done something to trigger this? No. Boolean searches are very hard on Google servers, and so they often will trigger a CAPTCHA because they want to make sure you're not a bot. It's nothing that you've done wrong. It's just because you're using Boolean searches, period. If you use too many Boolean searches in a short period of time, you will get the CAPTCHA. It'll block your IP, and you have to verify that you're human. And then it'll unlock it again for a couple more, and then it'll lock it again. So that's why you just take your time in between Boolean searches, give it about 2 or 3 minutes, and then if you do rapid fire Boolean searches, that's when you're going to get the CAPTCHA. But if you wait, pause like 2 or 3 minutes in between each search, you shouldn't trigger it. And it's nothing that you've done wrong. It's just a safeguard on Google's part.
Or you can just change IPs.
Or you can change IPs if you have that. Like what I do when I start doing a bunch of Boolean searches is I'll open up, one of my browsers, and then I'll open up one of my VPSs that I have, so that I've got 2 open browsers, and I'll alternate between my VPS and my desktop, VPS and desktop. And usually that I get because it's enough time in between searches that it doesn't trigger any CAPTCHAs. Okay. Okay, quickly, Dan says to use HM to determine good keywords for local business. Is a spun article good enough for over 40 videos, or should I go through and ensure the keyword the video is put in the beginning and the middle manually for each video? Well, Dan, like I mentioned or showed earlier, if you just use something like this where you use tokens, you can set it up. And again, this is not a Hangout Millionaire tutorial, but you can actually set up the keyword tokens within Hangout Millionaire that would look like this. Right, and you'd sprinkle those in so that each video, so like instead of it looking like that, you would look like this, right? And so each time, and then you set your keyword list at the end, so that essentially you can get the keyword in your content as many times as you want. And you can set up keywords as just cities, or you can set up keywords as niches or niches plus cities. There's you got to get creative here, but the point is that I try to get the keyword in, like for every, I only care to get the keyword in the main title once, at least just once in the article body, and then in the tag section. And that's it. That's really all you need if you have it in the title tag, you're already alerting Google as to what's the most important keyword. And then use variations throughout the content anyways. And again, you can do all of that automatically inside of there. Okay? It's just a matter of setting it up. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to be done. Mike Pierce, that's funny, Mike.
Yeah, it's just FYI, Mike then elaborated a little bit on the litigation. If they find it and you have messed with the image, you will get more litigation at the end of the day. So
yeah, okay, so he clarified that.
Yeah.
Huh. Jonathan says he can't hear anything. I'm going to blow a gasket. Well, take it out on your computer, not us. All right, one more. This is the last one, and we're going to wrap it up, guys. Dan says, if running a batch to determine easiest videos to rank for, wow. This is like an HOM form today. That's all right. He says, if running a batch to determine easiest videos to rank for, do we need to pay more attention to what is in the spawn article for each keyword term? In other words, do we need to go in after the HM campaign is finished and add particular keywords in the beginning? No, once again, Dan, don't make more work than you need to. Set it up properly on the front end. Then all of the videos are going to post out with the specific keywords for that specific video because you set it up properly. You shouldn't be having to go in and edit anything when you're done. If you do have to go in and edit something, it's because you didn't set it up right properly on the front end. Okay, the whole point of doing these campaigns like this is for speed and automation. You shouldn't have to manually do anything other than set the campaign up properly the first time and then track the results. That's it. Okay? So again, you just need to play with it, play with keyword combinations and articles, and using find and replace in Notepad, guys. There's nothing magical to it. It's just learning about spinning and using find and replace properly, and then setting up the keywords and using the tokens that you can set up within Hangout Millionaire to be able to do that, guys. And it makes it, again, just play with it. All the teaching in the world isn't going to help you until you just practice and play with it, and you'll start seeing results. And that's, again, why you want a test channel, by the way. You don't want to start using this on a money channel because as you're testing and learning, you'll make mistakes, and you don't want to have to go through all that, right? If you have a test channel, it's not going to matter. Just make mistakes, just leave them be and do another batch and note your changes. That makes sense.
That's gonna have to be it because we're running into
Yep.
our masterclass.
It's 5 o'clock. We got to wrap it up. So, guys, thanks for
Yep.
everybody being here. Next week, we'll see everybody next week. Masterclass members, we'll see you in just a moment. And have a good week. Thanks,
Bye-bye,
guys, for being here.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.